Hi YouTube. Today we're going to take an extended look on the Seiko Scubamaster SBCW007, the limited edition Francisco Pippin Ferreras special model. An extended look as we're going to see the other two members of the Scubamaster family from the 90s, the SBCW003, the blue Scubamaster, and brief look on a watch I have already reviewed, the SBCP001, the digital analog, the analog, I should say, depth meter Scubamaster. Now, the box, as you can see, it's a limited edition box. It features the diver, Pippin Ferreras, which was a legend on his own right. This special edition was launched to commemorate a world record on the Cayman Islands. He took just 2 breaths of air without any scuba oxygen equipment or anything like that, and he plunged down to the depths of 500 feet or 152 meters back on May 31st, 1997. And this here limited edition Scubamaster is the watch that was produced to commemorate it. As you can see, it features the Cayman Challenge 1997, words inscribed, plus a very beautiful dial which features the map of the Caribbean with the Cayman Islands right next to the date window. I believe you can see it right now. We have Cuba on top, Mexico, the US, and it has a very interesting yellowish oranges color. I guess you could call it, Prospex yellow, I guess. It's closer to mustard, not so much yellow, not so much orange. It's a nice tint. Usually I don't like, mustard dialed watches, but this one keeps it down to an acceptable level. I do prefer orange. I think the warm BFK orange is probably the best looking orange dial Seiko has produced, but this one, goes pretty close to that. It's decidedly not the kind of orange you see from, the actual models and the SKX variants. Technically it's closer to yellow, but still it's a beautiful tint. As you can see in the box, we have a couple of other things to commemorate this little endeavor. Normally there's also a rubber band, but unfortunately this box didn't come with it. But it does have, a depth meter and a thermometer. And that sort of card on the background. And it's pretty nifty, it closes down. I guess you could say it reminds me of the Invicta style box. That's not a good thing, but still, it's pretty good, especially if you compare it to what you get now from Seiko for a limited edition, which is pretty pathetic, really. Right, so let's get back to the watch. As I said, this is a limited edition. I think it was 1,000 pieces. And it's a numbered limited edition. Not a lot of them surfacing nowadays. I was lucky enough to pick up this one pretty new old stock. There's hardly a scratch on it. And that's very interesting. I've been meaning to make a video for this watch for quite some time now, because I think it's quite underrated compared to the normal version. Photographs don't do this watch justice, because in the photos you're just, it looks like that's an ordinary bezel insert, really, white and black as a bezel insert color looks kind of odd. But up close, you can understand the high polish that went into this material. I'm guessing it's sort of a titanium mixture. The whole watch is made of titanium, high intensity titanium, as Seiko would call it nowadays. It used to be called, Brights titanium, but there was no Brights line back then, so I guess we can stick to good old high intensity titanium. The indexes are very well made, the hanks. All in all, this watch really has an air of quality that you cannot quite easily get a grip on unless you're actually handling it, and that's probably the downside, because the normal version, I'm gonna say it in a while, the SBCW003, which is pretty much identical save for the dial and the bezel insert color, is somewhat more appreciated than this one, and that's a pity, because it's a very beautiful watch on its own right, and I think it mirrors somewhat the personality of Pippin Ferreras. Pippin Ferreras was an extreme athlete and also a very extravagant man. I guess he took a lot of flack for hunting down records to keep the sponsors happy, much the same way that some other high caliber athletes have done in the past. The names of Sergei Bomka come to mind, US track and field, probably Johnson, Bolt. So Pippin Ferreras came under a lot of flack, particularly because his lack of safety precautions led to a number of accidents. A couple of his divers, because it's a team effort, deep scuba diving with one breath. A couple of his own divers perished, and of course the tragic loss of his wife, which led to a lot of conspiracy theories, but we'll not get into that. I would say so just that this watch accurately reflects the personality of Pippin Ferreras, because it's really a watch that, it's quite blinky for a diver. It's as if it yells, watch me, take notice of me, do not ignore me. It's a beautiful watch, but it's also a show-off piece. Look at how it reflects the light. Beautiful, beautifully made surfaces, high polish, brassed, a very lovely bracelet for both of these models, the limited edition and the normal version. Bracelet starts from 20mm, tapers out to 22, which is a nice trick. Then goes back to 18mm to the standard ratcheting clasp that Seiko produced. It has its Tsunami logo, as you can see, as was the norm back then. Seiko has done a lot of cost cutting, unfortunately, since the 90s, and little details like that you don't get to see anymore. That's a pity. But this is a very well executed watch. Look at this high polished surface underneath the bezel. The bezel is very well made. Has 120 clicks, and you can probably hear it out. Very, very well made. One piece case with a nice Manta logo. The Scubamaster case, again, very well polished. nicely brassed. And the kinetic caliber. Kinetics were the rates back then. This is the 5M45 kinetic caliber, upgraded with one of the newest battery models. You can get it to run for approximately 4 or 5 months without wearing it. Very high quality watch, and it was a very, very expensive watch. Back in the day, I think it cost something like $2,500 US, converted from yen. As I said, this is the SBCW007. Beautiful watch on its own right. This is the regular edition. It came, a year, I think, before this edition. And the only difference, pretty much, is that it doesn't have the signed limited edition etching on the side. And of course, there is a different dial and bezel insert color. And this bezel insert, ladies and gentlemen, is just amazing. It has an electric blue feel to it. You can see how it changes, how it reflects the light. It's very, very, very beautiful and very, very rare. It's becoming rare by the day because it's very sensitive, and it's getting harder by the day to pick one of those up in nice condition. Also, the dial, it's a deep blue with some nice carbon, I believe, fibering. It's pretty hard to capture it. The indexes, the hands are also very nice quality. I don't know if it's a red GMT hand. I'd wish it wasn't all that intense. I'd prefer if it was as red as are the second hour markers on the bezel, on the chapter ring. But okay, I guess do it. It comes with the same bracelet as a Scubamaster. I've got it paired with a nice NATO band, which I think suits it well at the moment. Beautiful watch on its own right, very well appreciated by collectors nowadays. Identical to almost every aspect mechanically. Also very high build quality. Simple box, an AGS sports box. Nothing fancy about it. And to complete the lineup is the SBCB001, the other one of the Scubamasters of the 90s. They came, all of those watches, in approximately the same time, 1996, 1997, 1998, about this time. This was the first analog depth meter, again a watch of extreme build quality. Now there was another Scubamaster watch back then, but it was a diving computer. It looks pretty interesting, I guess, but I wouldn't put it in the same category as these watches here, since it was a diving computer and it looks, what could you say, computer is pretty huge on the wrist too, digital LCD, but these here watches, they are timeless designs, very, very unique, very nicely put together watches, sapphire crystals, beautiful hands, beautiful dials. You don't see, a well-executed dial from Seiko nowadays. They've cheapened out, I'm afraid, although there are a couple of efforts recently to put up a nicer dial. Back then, a high-grade Seiko watch came with an amazing dial as a standard too. This one you have to take a loop to actually notice, the quality in it. It's fabulous. Right, so this concludes this presentation of the Pippin limited edition along with its sibling 003. I got this family all grouped together for a while. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll just do a cutaway to take a look at, customer wrist shot at this point. And here it is on my wrist. My wrist, for comparison's sake, is 18.5 centimeters wide and pretty wide as is on top, because I'm a tall, not too fat guy. And you can see right away that this watch has phenomenal wrist presence. It sits tall, but not as tall as Marine Master 300, for example. Of course, it's much lighter, but it still has some heft to it. I'd say it's about 130 grams with the stock bracelet on. The color, of course, it's very lovely, as I said, Prospex yellow, I guess it would be the correct term. And the watch looks very, very nice. And it wears very well, even on a rather, I guess on a smaller wrist it would even look good, because it's not too large on diameter, but it has very nice feel to it. You can see the bracelet, you could call it a tropic bracelet, I guess. There's nice gaps here, so the watch can be worn in warmer climates without worrying too much about it. And of course, as I said, it's a really show-off piece that doesn't go unnoticed. This nice bright yellowish color. It reflects light very well. Let's take a look at the 003. Wasn't planning to, but I guess I should. And this is the sibling, the 003, the non-limited version. It's very interesting, I've been meaning to say this, that there is a certain depth in these watches, and it even looks more pronounced with the darker blue dial of the 003 and those second time zone reddish markers that appear to be, deep underneath the sea level, if you'd like. It's a very nice effect. It gives the watch a significant depth in the perception. Again, build quality the same, very, very well made watch. You can be a little bit imaginative to pair it. It also looks very nice on the MM300 rubber strap. Fits the item very well. I'd say better than the usual stock Seiko Z20 that came with the limited edition normally. And it's a very nice blue diver, the deep blue, darker, giving the depth perception, and of course the phenomenal blue bezel insert, looking fantastic in every possible angle. So there you have it. Two very beautiful kinetic divers from the 90s, along of course with the depth meter watch that constituted the Scubamaster family back then, save for the diving computers that had the same name. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos to come.